So since Messi has gone into Inter Miami, I can safely say that this is coming to the end of his career. Messi looks like he's done. Looks like, he's not really. Although yes, the World Cup is still to come. Maybe Copa America he might play, but club football he is done. He doesn't really want to compete at the highest level. He just wants to chill, which is fine. So because he's done with club level football, I just want to go in and rank every single Messi season that he has played. Every single one. And see, which one is the best Messi season we've had. What is the best? What is the worst? It's going to be hard to find a worse, season for Messi. But, we'll have to see. And he's had a lot of good seasons, so it's gonna be very hard to rank every single one. So but if you like it, like the video, subscribe, and let's go. So just before I start, I'm gonna let you know the categories. The very top is GOAT season. These are the very best seasons and generational seasons where you probably won't even see another player even get close to it. Close to his best. It's not quite in GOAT, but it's still very good. Great, again, is good. Great is still great, but for Messi standards, it could be like he's all right. Good, it's all right. It's a good Messi season. Nothing crazy, nothing like not like Ballon d'Or worthy, but a good season. Mid, don't really need to explain that. And the last one is his worst, the worst Messi season. So yeah, let's get right into it. Let's begin the tier list with going all the way back to the beginning of Messi's career and his first senior year as a Barca player, which was the 04-05 season. It's kind of unfair to put a real grade on the season. He was the 17-year-old, trying to figure out himself and, show out in a squad full of superstars. A squad that had Eto'o, prime Ronaldinho, Deco, Xavi. I can go on and on. For most of the season, he didn't really play much, but on May 1st, 2005, Messi scored his first La Liga goal and he showed who he could be. So to be honest, I'm just gonna put this in the mid category. Nobody really expected much. I could put this as the worst season, but in the end of the day, nobody expected a lot. Each season I'm ranking kind of by expectation as well. So it's about performance, expectations, all of that. Next we go to the 05-06 season, which in my opinion it was a good season for Messi, and I'm gonna put it in the good category. It was a season where Barca fans knew that they had a superstar in hand. They knew the potential Messi had, and as they saw more throughout the season, and he contributed, to be honest, a fair bit into Barca's success that season. Although he didn't play from the quarterfinals onwards in the Champions League, to be honest, Messi contributed a lot in the group stages of the Champions League, and also had an iconic game which you can find on YouTube and like everywhere. He had an iconic game against Chelsea, and that was one of the first, sights we saw Messi where he was praised around the world. And overall, Messi picked up 8 goals and 5 assists, which is decent for an 18-year-old, and also became Argentina's youngest player to score at a World Cup. So overall, I'll put this in a good category. It was a good season for Messi, and yeah, it showed his potential, to be honest. 06-07 Messi was a great season in my opinion. This was a season not only Barca fans saw him as a superstar in the making, but the whole entire football world did. This was a season where Messi became a bona fide starter for Barca. If you remember Ankara Messi, the meme, that's an iconic moment, and that happened that season. Also, the hat-trick he scored against my team, Real Madrid, he tore us to pieces, so he had a lot of good moments in that, season. And he kind of, he became the starter for Barca. In my opinion, this is a great season for Messi. Well, his later seasons were a lot better than this one. I'm putting this in the great season because nobody expected much. He's only 20 years old, and he came out, performing like this, which is impressive. So I'm putting this in the great season, and young Messi was unbelievable this season. He had so many good moments. 07-08 Messi was an interesting one and a difficult one to assess, in my opinion, as Messi had a down year when it came to his involvement in scoring goals, going from 13 goals to 10 goals in La Liga. But his playmaking took a massive jump as he became a lot more involved in building the attack, going from 3 assists to 14 assists. Other than the gold medal and making the UEFA Team of the Year for the first time, this Messi season was trophyless, and it wasn't really his fault, to be honest, because Barca did go through a bit of a transition year. Players like Ronaldinho started to fade away from the team, but overall, it was a good season for Messi, but to me, it was far from his best, so I'm going to put it in the good category. 08-09 was the start of the dynasty for Barcelona, as it was the Pep Guardiola era. Him and Messi led this team to their first treble in the club's history, and also the first treble we've ever seen from a Spanish club. Messi had 38 goals and 19 assists that season, which led Barca to a treble. And it was also his first Ballon d'Or. That Barca team was unstoppable. Also, they destroyed my team as well. Real Madrid 6-2 with Messi scoring the brace. It was Champions League winning year where Messi actually contributed. It wasn't like the 05-06 season. Messi contributed heavily to this one and also scored, in the final with the most memorable header. That header was crazy. It's still to this day kind of crazy how he pulled that off, and also with a great celebration to go with it. In my opinion, this season he won the Ballon d'Or, I know, but to me this season was close to his best. It wasn't a GOAT season quite, I know he won the treble, but to me this is close to his best, and he's had a lot better seasons than this. The 09-010 season was the arrival of Zlatan and a birth of a new partnership brewing in Barcelona with Zlatan and Messi in attack. Although it wasn't as successful as the season, as the 08-09 season, Barca still won a few trophies like the Club World Cup and the Super Cup. They also won La Liga with a record amount of points. Messi that season had the most goals on La Liga with 34, and he had 47 in all competitions. Messi took a huge jump scoring wise and scored the most goals ever in his career. Messi also won another Ballon d'Or, although, it could be said that Ballon d'Or was in controversial fashion as he didn't do really much in the World Cup, and a lot of people felt like his counterpart Andres Iniesta should have won it. Nevertheless, it was close to his best in my opinion. Messi that season, although I'll say in the Champions League they weren't really successful, Barcelona, in retaining it, Messi was just incredible that season, and his dribbling was just unbelievable. That was the season I really started watching football, so to me that goes close to his best. He had an incredible season. The 10-11 season was probably the best team we've ever witnessed in history, in my opinion. This team was built around getting the best out of Messi, and they got rid of Zlatan, who actually never worked out, to be honest, in Barcelona, and they brought in David Villa, who was a great piece alongside Messi. Messi wrapped up the season with 53 goals and 27 assists. He had one of the most memorable El Clasico goals with the Busquets layoff, and had a man of the match performance in the finals with a stunning goal, winning them the Champions League against United. It was a season where they also won another La Liga, and a season where Messi won his third Ballon d'Or. This season was too iconic. Messi just went off the season. To me, this is the first season where I'm going to put it in GOAT season. Guy just went crazy that season, and him and David Villa and Pedro, that front three with, Xavi, Iniesta, and Busquets feeding them was incredible, and yeah, this is a GOAT season for me. 11-12 Messi was without a doubt another GOAT season. Arguably, Messi's best season ever. Personally, for me, it was. I've never seen a player so dominant in my life in one season. Messi was unstoppable that season, and although trophy-wise Barca weren't successful, winning only the Copa del Rey, Messi individually was out of this world and has so many moments in this season alone. He comfortably won the Ballon d'Or and scored 50 goals alone just in La Liga. These are numbers that you would not see today in football. In all comps, he had 73 goals and 32 assists, which sounds fake, but it just isn't. Moments like scoring 5 goals in one game against Bayer Leverkusen, those were only small parts of Messi's historic season, only small moments. So, me, this is, in the GOAT debate without a single doubt. And to be honest, I think this is Messi's best ever season in his career. So, this is going to go top of GOAT season for sure. 12-13 ended badly after getting dominated in the UCL semis by Bayern. But Barca won the league and beat Real Madrid's record that was set a year before for the most points in a campaign season. Messi just lost out to Ronaldo when it came to that year's Ballon d'Or, but still, it doesn't stop us from recognizing that this Messi season was great. He had 60 goals and 17 assists. To be honest, I'm just going to put this at GOAT season, but it's at the very bottom. It was still a very good season. Production-wise, Messi still, backed it up. He had great numbers. I don't know, maybe it should be at, close to his best, but I'm just going to put it at GOAT season because Messi that year, on the cover of FIFA as well, I felt like he had a good season. Looking back, I know when I was watching as a young boy, he had a good season. So I'm just going to put it at GOAT season, but it's at the very bottom. It's at the very worst of GOAT season. 13-14 was a weird season for Messi. It was the arrival of Neymar, but it just seemed like things weren't clicking under Tata Martino. There was a notable decrease in production from Messi in this particular season. He ended with 41 goals, which is great, but among Barca fans, there was a feeling that he was saving himself for the World Cup. In the World Cup, he took Argentina to the final and had a great campaign. It might have been GOAT season, if Messi won the World Cup or if Barca didn't miserably fail badly in the Champions League. But for now, I'll put it at close to best. It was still a good season, but it just wasn't a good season. He just didn't complete the mission of winning the World Cup, or Barca just had a bad season overall. 14-15 was Barca's first treble since 08-09, and that was due to their incredible front line of Messi, Neymar, and Suarez, more known as MSN. We've never had a front three so dynamic and great. Two guys who were able to take the load off Messi and easily flow with him in the attack. Because they had such great finishers in Suarez and Neymar, Messi really got into his playmaking bag, having 31 assists and 58 goals that season. This was a season where Messi went back to playing as a right winger after years of being a center forward. He had iconic moments such as the Bayern game where he scored twice and completely took out Boateng's ankles. That's the goal that sent them to the final of the Champions League where they beat Juventus. Another moment, for example, it was the goal in the Copa del Rey final where Messi, in my opinion, that was one of Messi's best goals ever. He clutched up, dribbled almost through every single Atletico Bilbao player before scoring and putting his side ahead, and they would go on to win that game. That season, Messi won another Ballon d'Ors, obviously, and to be honest, that's another goal season for me. That was another goal season for me, and to be honest, that's his second best season to this date. So yeah, it easily goes into the goal season category. 15-16, I would say, was a successful season for Barca as they managed to rack up 5 trophies but underperformed in the UCL compared to the previous year where they won it. For Messi, it was a heartbreaking end to the season as he lost in the Copa America and missed a penalty in the penalty shootout. So Messi scored 41 goals throughout the season, and compared to this other season, I'll just put it in the gray section. 16-17 was the season of blonde Messi and his new look. This was also the season of the remontada and also the last-minute winner against Real Madrid, which brought out Messi's most memorable celebration to this day. He lost the Ballon d'Or again to Ronaldo, but still, he had a good season, 54 goals and 20 assists in all competition, and was injured for multiple weeks. To me, this goes into the close to his best section. 17-18 was a solid season, I would say, for Barca. Again, they failed in the Champions League, but domestically, they won 2 trophies in La Liga and Copa del Rey. The season was overshadowed by the transfer of Neymar to PSG. To recover, they brought in 20-year-old Dembele and Coutinho in the winter. And to be honest, this was Messi close to his best in my opinion, as he did his best to salvage his Barca team after the departure of Enrique and Neymar. And he scored 45 goals and 20 assists. But also, I didn't feel like he had the best World Cup, hence why it's going from goal season down to close to his best. I felt like he could have been better in the World Cup, but overall, he did his best to carry this team. So I'm just going to put it at close to his best. 18-19 was Messi's first Ballon d'Or season since 2019. 51 goals and 22 assists. This Messi season was incredible in my opinion. The team had a managerial crisis and a lot of their big players, a lot of their big transfers were flopping in my opinion. And at this point, this is the weakest Barca team, Messi's had since, he's been at Barca. This is the weakest team in my opinion. He was the only consistent player in attack. Players like Suarez were kind of slowing down. They're becoming washed. And even through all that, he carried his team to a La Liga title when teams like Real, were a powerhouse team at that point. To be honest, this is one of Messi's goal season. I'm just going to put it in the middle of goal season. It's not his best, but it's not his worst. But it's an incredible season how he carried his trash Barca team to a La Liga title. 1920 was one of the worst Barca seasons in their coveted history. I don't really know how to sum up this Messi season. On one hand, he had 31 goals and 27 assists, which looked good, but at the same time, it wasn't one of his best seasons, and the man just looked tired. He looked overworked. It looked like he was relied on like the whole season. And yeah, Barca, he had no real help. Messi had no real help that season, and he was relied on. The arrival of Griezmann didn't do much. He never quite got adjusted, and they paid 100 million for him, which is crazy. But he never got adjusted, and he never worked well with Messi. Overall, I'm going to rank the season as a great Messi season. Not to mention that Bayern 8-2 loss. It just wasn't a good year for him. The 2021 season started off on a rough note for Barca fans as Messi wanted out after that horrible loss against Bayern. He felt like the club had no direction for the future. Nevertheless, Messi stayed and he played out the season. It was another weird season for Messi. This one ended with one Copa del Rey trophy, but Messi won the Golden Boot and also won himself his first ever international trophy with Argentina. He won the Copa America against Brazil, and the whole tournament, he was very good. He was very good, and obviously he won his first international tournament, which is a huge deal. And because of that, he won his 7th Ballon d'Or. I would put the season close to his best. It's still good. It was a very good season, as said, but it's just the club level. I don't feel like he really achieved any, great success. But at the same time, this Barca team was horrible. But still, it's close to his best. Still, at this point, Messi's carrying this Barca team. In 21-22, the whole footballing world shook up, with Barca announcing Messi's departure due to financial reasons and the La Liga's wage structure. Messi had to be forced to leave and no longer was at his boyhood club. Messi embarked on a new journey and joined PSG, where he teamed up with Neymar once again and up-and-coming superstar Mbappe. Messi took the number 30 and everybody saw this team as a super team. They saw it as an unstoppable force. They saw this team as a Champions League favorite. He had 11 goals and 15 assists in all competitions, and if you saw those numbers on any other player, you would think those are good numbers. But for a guy like Messi, those are numbers we've never seen from him, since he was, since his early playing career. PSG won Liga 1, which is no real shock. Messi was brought in for the purpose of winning the Champions League, though, and they failed miserably in doing that as they were stopped by Real Madrid and Karim Benzema and his beautiful hat-trick. To be brutally honest, this was Messi's worst season. When we were talking about expectations, when we were talking about Messi, what he did the season before this is his worst season. And that first season he failed horribly with PSG, if we're being honest. And to me, this is the worst season I've seen from Messi in his playing career. You can disagree. If you disagree, let me know. But in my opinion, this was Messi's worst season. And listen, when you have players like Lacazette this season scoring like 25 plus goals, which is respectable because Lacazette's a good player at his prime, who's very good. But last season for Arsenal, he was horrible. He was washed. So the fact you just put him in the league and he gets those numbers, to me, it proved Ligue 1 is honestly a weaker league. There's no doubt about it. But I don't know, Messi I don't know why. He just didn't do good that first season. In my opinion, in my eyes, that was the worst Messi we've ever seen. It seemed like for the first time, the game wasn't catered towards Messi and he struggled to adjust. This easily goes into the worst, category. And finally, the last season we have a witness from Messi in Europe, the 22-23 season. A season where for parts of it seemed like we got the old Messi back. At times, it seemed like he got his magic back, especially the first part of the season where he was incredible and it seemed like he was highly motivated to win that World Cup. After the World Cup, it seemed like he was kind of unmotivated and the fans churned on him like crazy. The PSG fans were disgusted with Messi. Like, they hated him. Which is, to be honest, I don't understand that, but in the end of the day, it is what it is. Messi ended the season with 21 goals and 20 assists, but honestly, the World Cup, he was on a different level. This guy was on a different level. He was in the zone for the World Cup, and he brought the best Messi I've ever seen since perhaps 2015, in my opinion. He was dribbling like young Messi. He was incredible. He ended his story finally, and he won his first ever World Cup and ended Argentina's drought. After the World Cup, when Messi for sure, is in the top 2 Ballon d'Or race this season. And to be honest, Messi's last season in Europe, it goes down as a GOAT season. This is in the GOAT season just because he won the World Cup. If he didn't win the World Cup, this would probably be in just great. But that World Cup win takes some levels above. And this last season in Europe for Messi, it goes into GOAT season. And yeah, winning that tournament is very valuable. Hence why it's gonna be on GOAT. It's gonna be in GOAT season, in my opinion. So yeah, that's my final tier list. These are all the Messi seasons. It's gonna pop up on the screen. That's it. That's all the final. I know a lot of people might disagree, but this is just my opinion. This is my experience of watching Messi my whole life. So let me know let me know what you agree, disagree on. I put it all in order as well. The order of best to worst. So in the GOAT season, that's the best. The first one is the best Messi season ever. The last one is probably the worst in that section. So yeah, let me know what you guys think. And if you want to see more styles like this, more style of video like this, let me know. Anyway, subscribe, like, and peace out.